Welcome to the 420 Breakout session. Here once again is John Ingates.
You show the lights that stop me, turn to stone.
All right, up next, right here in this room in the Breakout, we have a talk on the idea of IT transformation, and more specifically about how companies are trying to take on the role of becoming a cloud broker or a service provider to their business. And so here with more on that is Deepen Shah, who's an enterprise solutions architect at Rackspace. Deepen, welcome.
So, good afternoon, everyone. How is everyone doing? Great. So, I want to thank you for your time today. I hope this was really valuable, and I hope it was pragmatic and useful the way we shaped the day around real companies solving real problems using our solution areas. So, with that being said, I just want to focus on the topic for the next 40 minutes, and I promise it's the end of the day. I'll try to give you some time back. But my background, as John mentioned, I'm a enterprise architect, part of the strategy and transformation services group within Rackspace. And as part of my job role, I'm privileged to work with customers day in and day out to talk about their transformation goals and help them in that journey. And the use cases could be anywhere from I want to get out of the data center business to help me identify the right cloud platform for my application stack. Could be greenfield, brownfield, and something like how can I partner with a service provider like you and still maintain value back to my business as IT, right? So the focus for today is specifically going to be how can IT be a service provider or a service broker to the business? This is a quick snapshot of an article from Tech Republic, and it just shows where does the IT spend go today. And as you can see, 70% of today's IT budget goes towards operational, keeping the lights on type activities, and 30% towards innovation, which actually fuels in the growth for your company. And that's where the question for IT is, what you need to do today and where can you leverage economies of scale from a service provider like Rackspace so that you can focus your resources back on stuff that is important to you. Could be more applications, could be more innovation, and how can we help you in this journey, right? So before we proceed, let's take a quick poll. How many of you have heard about IT as a service or service brokerage terms here? Great. How many of you are actually part of central IT today? Great. How many of you are consumers of central IT? And how many of you have ever bypassed central IT for your technology services? Could be shadow IT. Great. So I think we have a mixed bag here. Before we proceed, I would just like to get us all on the same page as far as the roles that we would use in the presentation for service brokerage and the definitions for those, right? Let's start with service owner. Service owner is someone that actually is responsible to define the strategy of the service and the entire life cycle of those, right? That could be adding services to the service portfolio, making sure that these services are updated, maintained, and working with cloud service providers, right? A cloud service provider is someone just like Rackspace, who's going to provide you with infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. Cloud service offerings is something that is a business view of your service portfolio, right, from a service catalog perspective. And a cloud service catalog is something that IT looks at from the inside, which is more technical. Example, where you are in your service catalog, you would have cloud servers from Rackspace, private or OpenStack, private cloud within Rackspace, or it could be our platform as a service, MongoDB, right? So that's your view of the service catalog as IT. Cloud service brokerage is a term which is basically you are the middleman brokering the services from the cloud provider and maintaining that relationship between the service owner, the service consumer, and the service provider. Business consumer is basically your business who's going to consume the services. And I'll maybe skip the next two, which is pretty straightforward. And the cloud governance board, that is the important piece, is where the governance applies when you define a cloud service brokerage model, where you are responsible for auditing and making sure that it complies with your security and compliance requirements, it meets your SLA requirements, and obviously you're looking at pricing as well, as every single time you look at different service providers. So with that being said, let's move on. Let's just talk about the value shift. There are a lot of enterprises today, specifically in the IT side, who are looking to shift to become a service provider to the business. And this shift encompasses new ways of acquiring and providing service back to the business. And there are multiple reasons why this shift is happening. However, the most common reasons that we have experienced is basically the business looking out for a higher level of service for delivery and support of their business critical applications. With legacy's IT's lack of ability to provide that level of service, the service consumer or the business engages the cloud service provider directly, and in that process circumvents important things like security, governance, and basically the transparency on what services are consumed by which business unit within the business. And this becomes a huge problem as you move forward with this model. And that is exactly where there's an opportunity for central IT to become that service broker, where you are understanding the services that are provided by the service providers, and you also understand the needs of the business. And you kind of broker this and make sure that you add stuff like governance, right? You provide greater agility and faster time to market, which the business wants. That's the reason why they go to the cloud service provider. You're looking to gain clarity of IT costs through chargebacks. You provide a single cohesive view of the services back to your business. That way, they don't have to reach out to multiple cloud service providers for every single service they want to consume. Security and governance, I already talked about that. And then you can also build some sort of a business process or workflow around how your business consumes these services. So you gain a lot of control back with you, and you still maintain that value that IT sees in you versus a cloud service provider. So with that being said, now we understand the value shift, and So now we understand the reason why their shift is happening from an IT standpoint. We understand the benefits of the shift. Let's just talk about what are the key steps that you need to take to become a service broker to the business. And we have identified 7 key steps. And this is, again, more educational, less technical. There are 2 parts of being a service broker. One is the process part of it, which we're going to talk about today. And the second is more technical, where you're talking about selecting a service brokerage tool, or maybe even customizing a service brokerage tool to your needs. Step 1 is take a look at your current service portfolio, right? Make sure that you ensure that every single service that you have in your service portfolio makes sense to the consumers, right? It has to have a business value for that service, right? You want to make sure that these services are available to the consumers with a faster time to market. And this could be a good blend of services that you provide today in-house and service that you broker from a cloud provider like Rackspace. Step 2 is start with providing your business an approved list of core services that they could consume with clear definitions of that service and the way to consume it. And the way you get started is start working with multiple service providers, understand their service models, and once you have a list of certified cloud providers that you're going to work with, collaborate with them during the design phase, and also work with your line of business to actually gain the functional and non-functional requirements so that you can document it and then work with cloud service providers to make sure that you are making this happen. So end of the day, the end product is something which keeps the business interested, and they're going to start looking at you as an advisor versus somebody who's like trying to be a bottleneck here, or maybe a roadblock. Step 3, which is an extremely important step, is the relationship management. And this is where the relationship trifecta comes into picture, where you are managing the relationship between your business, the cloud service provider, and the service consumer, and the service owner, right? You should leverage the economies of expertise of a service provider during the design phase, and partner and collaborate with the business while all the way from the inception phase to the implementation phase. And that's the key of maintaining the relationship management, where the business looks at you saying you really understand what we are buying versus business making the decision on your behalf. You have a great relationship with the cloud service providers so that you can leverage their partner contacts to solve things that are outside of their wheelhouse, right? So now you are not just working with yourself, but now you're really adding value to the entire business just because you're being a real broker, understanding what the business needs are and delivering as and when they want. Slide 4 is basically simplify consumption, which is identify a set of services that are repeatable and that could be provided to your multiple line of business in a very simple way, a single pane of glass structure, which could be a service catalog, right? And the service catalog, you can use something which is off the shelf, something like a service mesh or maybe a ServiceNow, or maybe you can develop something in-house for your own private cloud, or you can use a blend of both. Step 5 is multi-provider world, right? The ability to construct a hybrid service offering that span not only data centers, but span multiple providers. As the market matures, end of the day, every cloud service provider is going to specialize into applications that eventually is going to broaden your horizon as far as maintaining relationship with providers, right? So don't put your eggs in one basket and use and understand complementary services that multiple vendors are providing today, which could be extremely useful to you as you move forward in your transformation journey. Step 6 is take back control, which is basically you are providing a governance model around that whole service consumption, where you are responsible for doing auditing of the service owner and the service provider in terms of cost, security, and compliance, and SLA that really matters to you. Right? The goal here is to hold the service provider accountable for their SLAs. Step 7 is take back control, right? Which is basically you're trying to be transparent to your business in the way you show them what is being consumed and the way you charge them back, right? The idea is to set up automation around maybe driving quotas or making sure that you set up a workflow around who approves what in terms of new requests coming in by multiple users within a single line of business. So the goal here is to become the service provider of choice for your line of business. So with that being said, this is a high-level summary of IT as a service, which is the high-level checklist, where we talked about 7 key steps: value-oriented business services, approved list of services, relationship management, simplifying consumption, multi-provider world, know your service, and sharing. Make sure that you share enough data with your consumers so that and take feedback from your consumers as well, so that you can continuously improve the service that you are brokering to your business. That's pretty much it, guys. This is where I end my presentation, but I would like to really open up for a set of questions from you guys, and would love to hear about your experiences in this journey today. Any questions? Sure.
So how obviously with other verticals
Right. So the strategy here is it doesn't matter what cloud service are you choosing. So it could be software as a service or platform as a service or infrastructure as a service. The idea is how are you adding value as IT? Right? Are you taking that request back from the business and say, I will make sure that I'll research what your needs are in the market, come back to you with a solution that says, hey, to your requirements, these are the provider, these are the vendors who are the best choice. And the reason why is short-term and long-term, right? In terms of pricing, security, all of that. So end of the day, you're providing a holistic solution back to the business, and they are not wasting their time researching the same thing that you are already tasked with. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, so it is a mixed bag. Like a lot of enterprises are already impacted and they're working to resolve this issue by being a service broker, right? They're trying to be more active versus just being putting the guardrails on, right? So that there is some remediation happening on that side. There are some enterprises who are still legacy just because they don't get enough pushback from the business. They sometimes don't even understand that there is this shadow IT which is already building, which is going to be a threat if they don't stop doing the things that they are already doing, right? So it's kind of a mixed bag, but overall, the mature enterprises really get it. The top enterprises already have huge IT teams, and they're already structuring it accordingly. However, there are mid-market type and SMB where IT doesn't play a huge role. Yes. Yes. Right. Yep. Absolutely. Right. Any other questions in the room? All right then. So I really thank you for your time, guys, and really appreciate. And I'll be here for the next session. So if you guys have any questions, stop by the pavilion and we can talk about it for any of your transformation needs. Thank you.
Thank you.